Broadcast to you. We welcome you from the booth as the riders are out on the racetrack for their warm-up exciting lap. We're getting ready to go racing here for the first of two legs in this 9th round of the World Superbike Tour for 2002. So many hopefuls, so many international stars, and so many fans have joined us here at this beautiful racetrack on a gorgeous day for competition. I'm Brian Drever. David Sadowski's with me in the booth. And you heard Greg say he's going to get his gear on down on pit road. He'll be working hard as always.
Real important lap right here. We saw all the guys tucking the front end and the right-hand turns here at Laguna Seca. Really only 3 right-hand turns before you get to the start-finish line to scuff in new tires. Everybody making it around the track okay so far, but it's one of those hazards here at the racetrack. Take a look at the starting grid going by at the bottom of the screen. This is going to be an awesome day of racing, Brian. I've been waiting for this for a long time to see how the Americans stack up against the world.
Well, it's always been kind of a hypothetical situation for the most part. Last year, of course, we saw Eric Bostrom. There he is on the number 32 bike, score 2 5th-place finishes in an admittedly, somewhat underpowered bike. No problem with power on the Kawasaki and no problem with the man riding it. He's actually posted the fastest trap speeds here down across the start-finish line of any of the riders, including the World Superbike regulars.
6 to 7 kilometers faster than some of the fastest Ducatis and Hondas in the World Superbike field.
Getting ready to go here, closest to the camera, Noriyuki Haga on the PlayStation Aprilia. The bike's going into gear. The engine RPMs come up. And when the lights go green, they'll be racing. The red light will go out and off they go. Couldn't see it in the blinding sunshine there, but we are underway at Laguna for race number 1.
We'll see who gets the whole shot up front. It's Colin Edwards.
Honda of Colin Edwards into turn number 2 in the lead.
Hodgson and Bayless side by side for second there momentarily. It looks like Bayless took over the second spot. Neil Hodgson's in third. Noriyuki Haga behind Eric Bostrom. 4th and 5th there. Haga just been cracking into the top 5.
Underway and on board with Nicky Hayden right now.
Nicky got a great launch. He's right up here with the lead group. If you don't stay with this lead group on the opening lap, Brian, your chances of winning at Laguna are out the window. Hayden doing a great launch here up through turn 5. Real challenging turn 6. Riders a downshift once, right at a big bump at the turning input point. Haga's a little wide. The bump got him. Pushes him out wide. There's Nicky Hayden reeling up into 4th place. 2 downshifts into the corkscrew. You're going to drop 3 stories. Eric Bostrom so fast on the opening lap, but he's being held up by the World Superbike guys.
Haga lost some ground. He's all the way back behind Ben Bostrom now. As your leader is Colin Edwards with Troy Bayless, the championship points leader, out in front. Then it's Neil Hodgson on the 100 bike.
Here goes Nicky Hayden up the inside, Brian.
These two went after it in the AMA Superbike race yesterday. Eric Bostrom pulling off an 8-second victory. And afterwards, the Honda team, Ray Plum and everybody out there said, we just made a bad tire choice. Dunlop came here with so many different tires, we're second guessing. We made a bad choice.
Hayden and Bostrom side by side, battling for the 4th place position.
Bottom of the screen, your running order. Edwards, Bayless, and Hodgson, the top 3. Nicky Hayden in 5th position. Tried to make a move on Eric Bostrom. Brother Ben in 6th.
Brother Ben on the backside of Nicky Hayden.
Haga went from 4th to 7th.
Really dropping off the pace here. Through the flat section at turn 4. Try to get a good drive out of here. There is a passing zone before you get to 5, but everybody pretty much equal with their drive off of 4. Track's a little bit banked here, but then rolls off flat. We'll see Eric Bostrom try to defend up the inside. Nicky Hayden all over the backside of him.
An onboard ride with Nicky Hayden at Laguna Seca Raceway doesn't get any better than that. You can see the first 3 are making a move away from the rest, and Hayden moves into 4th position to try to run him down.
And Ben goes underneath Eric at the top of the corkscrew. 2 riders up the inside. Now Haga's taking a shot at Eric Bostrom.
Bostrom getting shuffled back by some of the World Superbike regulars, Ben Bostrom and Nicky Hayden, who's trying to run the leaders down. He wants to race with those guys.
Colin Edwards continues to lead here. He wants to be dominant from the get-go. Neil Hodgson, I expect him to start working his way across. Look at Haga making contact nearly with Eric Bostrom.
Haga wants to get around. He's trying to make a move.
And Ruben Chow's now inside Eric Bostrom in turn 2.
Wow, Eric Bostrom is racing with the lead riders as he wanted to be, but not quite in the manner that he would like. He's being shuffled back through the field after getting a great start. On board now, Eric Bostrom.
Trying to figure out what's going on with Eric. He's leaving the inside of the track pretty much wide open. Looks like he's having a little bit trouble finishing off the turns here today, whereas yesterday the bike was on rails. I'd hate to speculate that he's a little bit fatigued from all the riding here this weekend, possibly.
I think the more likely possibility is just as it was with Nicky Hayden. Tire choice is so critical. It's so important on handling a technical racetrack like Laguna Seca. You know that, Ski. And if you don't have the right rubber under you, where it meets the road, it can be a scary proposition.
Aaron Yates, the next one to go after Eric Bostrom. Definite close racing up front, no doubt about it. Troy Bayliss just parked on the backside of Edwards, trying to apply the pressure and force Edwards into an error. Up the front straightaway, the Honda and Ducati horsepower shootout. It's pretty evident that these bikes are equal here at Laguna.
Aside from Eric Bostrom being shuffled back through the field, it's been pretty much a nose-to-tail parade here. Nobody's really made a definitive move on anyone else. Certainly not Bayliss for the lead on Edwards. All the pit boards showing out there plus zeros just about for every position on the racetrack. Up front, it's Colin Edwards, Captain America, the Lone Star Ranger. And right behind him, Troy Bayliss, a nearly perfect 13 of 16 race wins here in 2002. And Bayliss, his career got started a little bit late in World Superbike. He has had 64 appearances, during which he has won a total number of races of an unbelievable 21 out of 64 races in his short career. So while Colin Edwards leads the race and Troy Bayliss stalks him, Nicky Hayden is right there with him, and Hodgson too. We'll be right back. World Superbike racing on speed, brought to you by the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R, AMA and FIM World 600 Super Sport Champion. Racing continues here with 5 laps in the books out of 28 scheduled in race number 1. Take a look.
41, left side of your screen. Gets in on Hayden, and there's no way to go except for lift the rear tire up there and try to let Nicky Hayden cross back over the front of that Aprilia. Nori Haga on the PlayStation 2 Aprilia Melee, and he's going to work. He just cut the fastest lap of the race so far, 125.47. That's flying out there right now on race tires. Neil Hodgson starting to spin up the rear tire of the 100 Ducati.
And lose ground, while Nicky Hayden is right behind him, waiting for an opportunity to move into third position. So Hayden riding a very comfortable race right now. And he just gets passed by Noriyuki Haga on the downhill run.
We got a treat for you. Got a buddy of mine come into the booth here today. Damon Buckmaster of the Great Motorsports Yamaha. Ripping it up in Formula Extreme out there, Damon, but this Laguna Seca circuit proved to be a challenge for your team as well. Hang on, we'll work on Damon's microphone here. Racing continues to be really tight up front, Brian. I think the bell has rung, and these guys have definitely tightened up the gloves. Nori Haga putting the move on Hayden. He's working his way towards the front. It looks like the Aprilia Relays has definitely got the setup here today. One of the fastest guys in the morning warm-up.
Well, Nori Haga has been progressing through the ranks. He got off to a little bit of a shaky start aboard the PlayStation Aprilia, but ever since then he has been slowly marching towards the front in lap times, and now he's marching towards the front on the racetrack.
Well, we plugged in the right microphone here for David. David's with us from the Great Motorsport Yamaha team, Damon Buckmaster. Damon, what's your impression of Haga here so far?
Haga's definitely having a good go, isn't he? Lifting the back wheel in the air, going on the brakes and trying to get around Nicky, and he's making a pretty good impression on everybody right now.
Up the inside of Hodgson, he's going for it. Tell us about the racetrack this weekend. It proved to be quite challenging, even for the best in the world. They're pitching these bikes down left and right.
For sure, there's been a lot of guys go down this weekend, and there's no real answer for it. But everybody wants to win, and everybody just keeps pushing it. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of crashes and a few guys being hurt.
Damon, you've had 4 opportunities to race against the World Superbike riders, principally as a wild card rider at your home track. And what is it like to come in kind of in a one-shot deal with these guys like a Nicky Hayden, like an Aaron Yates, like a Matt Mladen, and so forth?
It's pretty good. It's it's not very intimidating at all, to be honest. I think the biggest issue is just trying to be competitive against them and trying to get the right tyres that you need to be competitive. But all in all, it's a real good experience and nothing to lose. So you probably put it a little more on the line for this event than what you would your normal race.
From the outside looking in, these guys get up to speed so quickly. I mean, there's no walking into it. You just jump right in the deep end and flail, don't you?
Absolutely. Like lap 1 is flat out. There's no break, and you can see the tyres are starting to move around already. So it's quite interesting.
First 5 riders on the racetrack right now, with a 6th one trying to join them. Nicky Hayden is right there in the mix. Troy Bayliss in 2nd, Hodgson 3rd. It's been like that. Nori Haga has moved up through the field to 4th position, and we're going to have a 6-way battle on the other side of this commercial break. You can be sure of that. So stay with us. World Superbike at Laguna. All kinds of fireworks up front among the 6 leaders now as Ruben Giles has joined the party. He's back there at the tail end of the field. Nicky Hayden running 5th. Neil Hodgson with a moment after he got passed by Nori Haga, more or less ran wide, and Haga came by underneath to move into 3rd position. You see the full rundown at the bottom of the screen. We're at lap number 9, and Damon, you said tires starting to move around a little bit before the commercial break. What about now?
Yeah, we just saw Noriyuki Haga have quite a big moment coming out of turn 11 there, but it's getting really interesting. There's no real gap here. No one's running away with this race. It's very exciting, and I think the boys are going to as Troy makes a mistake there. So,
contact for 2nd position between Bayliss and Haga. Haga takes the spot. He's been barging his way through, really aggressive, and popped up out of the seat a few times. Walk us through what a tire does. We're on lap 9. Is this where the tires start to change?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the point that it's going to get very interesting, and you've just seen Nicky run wide there also, but Nori's been muscling his way right from behind all these guys, and he's going for the win here today, and it's he's probably the one to look at as far as the tire wear goes.
Look at that seesaw battle for 2nd place. Bayliss around Haga on the way in. Haga's able to hold that Aprilia Mille way over. Look at the major lean angle he's got on that thing. He's able to go to the inside, whereas the Ducatis are running wide.
Hangs way off that motorcycle, and sitting where I am, I can imagine that racing against Nori Haga for me would be like racing against either one of you guys.
He is aggressive, no doubt about it. How'd you like to be out there with this guy?
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting, really. You can see the battle for 2nd now is letting Colin get away, so they probably want to stop this pretty soon, otherwise Colin's just going to run with it. And it's fairly interesting because there's a Michelin, Dunlop, Michelin, Dunlop, Dunlop.
Good tire work going on. Good point, Damon. We appreciate you coming into the booth here today. I know you need to get back down to your team. Little action here to the corkscrew. Side by side on the way out, intersecting lines. That's not the first time that Haga's made contact with somebody up in that area.
Oh, he's a little bit like a middle linebacker out there, Noriyuki Haga, and lost in all of the drama going on around the 41 Aprilia has been the fact that Colin Edwards has just been surgically precise out in front, and no one's really been able to challenge him. So we're going to say thanks and goodbye to Damon Buckmaster for stopping in here. Buckmaster Damon Bucky, we call him, in the midst of a battle for the Formula Extreme title here in the United States. We look forward to continuing to watch him for the remaining couple of rounds. So thanks a lot, Damon.
Yeah, thanks very much. Bro. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, good luck in the next one.
Thank you.
Colin Edwards out front. Nori Haga 2nd. Troy Bayliss 3rd, who has swapped that spot with Haga a couple of times. And then looking back through the rest of the field, it is Neil Hodgson in 4th position. Hodgson had his own moment when Haga went by. And for the moment anyway, Nicky Hayden holding off Ruben Giles at the tail end of this 6-rider lead pack.
Well, no better man to give us the input on the tires than Damon Buckmaster. He says that these tires, by the end, it becomes quite a management issue on top of the motorcycle just to keep the motorcycle on line. And the extreme temperatures here has got the track temp up quite hot. So we'll see more and more of the degradation of these tires. And these guys are going to have to slide their way to happiness to the finish.
Think of the road slowly freezing under your motorcycle, and you can imagine what these guys are going through. We'll be right back to see more of it. There's Colin Edwards, there's Troy Bayliss, there's Hodgson, Giles, and Nicky Hayden. No Noriyuki Haga. He has left the building.
Yeah. And everybody in the pack here in the top 5 just went, whew, oh, we're glad we don't have to race with him all the way to the finish.
That could be what they're thinking, and what a close call it was for Colin Edwards as Haga was trying to make a move for the lead and almost took out the back wheel of the leader. Hopefully we'll get a chance to show that to you. We are somewhat at the mercy of the international broadcasters here who are sending this race all around the world from Laguna Seca, California, USA.
Well, Haga was putting the pressure on Colin Edwards, and he was bound and determined to lead this race. He was looking smooth through most of the sections of the racetrack, but this bonsai line that he takes down into turn 2 around the inside finally caught up with him, just pushed it a little bit too hard, but like you said, nearly took out the Texas Tornado.
He is back on the racetrack, was able to pick the bike up and continue racing in the company of Steve Martin right now at the tail end of the field.
Nori Haga is not going to give up. This guy's got so much grit and determination. And the bike not damaged much at all. He got a leg down underneath it. Take a look. He looks up the inside. You can already see Nori Haga's looking right past Colin Edwards. Colin trying to late apex the corner. Oh, it just nicked the rear end of Colin Edwards' machine.
He felt it and just glanced for a second over his right shoulder.
So close to taking out the American hopeful Colin Edwards. Nori Haga back in the saddle again. Yeehaw, here we go.
But up front, it is the championship battle, and it is the same 2 men we said. Everybody else is in the race for sure, but these are the 2 men seated in the center lanes.
Look at Bayless. He's getting driven pretty hard off of turn 4. He's got to catch Colin Edwards under brake, and Hodgson pitching it sideways back there on the 100 bike. The HM Plant Ducati on Dunlops.
We heard Damon Buckmaster talk about, and you too, Ski Tire Wars, 2 Michelins up front, Hodgson on Dunlops. And Nicky Hayden, of course, on Dunlops, as he is for the AMA Series.
Nicky's still looking real good, Brian. He's sitting back there and learning a little bit and pacing himself, and he's saving a charge for the finish.
Ruben Jouse on Michelin, so it's Michelin 3, Dunlop 2 right now in this first 5-rider group.
And it's hot and challenging. No place to rest at Laguna Seca. All of the top 5 guys can run a triathlon if they wanted to. These are top conditioned athletes, plenty of stamina, but definitely the strong man is going to win here today because it's going to get down to a duke out towards the finish.
When I spoke to Troy Bayless this morning at the hotel, he's actually staying about 2 doors down from us, and he said, you know, it's going to be a long day for sure for me. I'm sore, my back hurts, and it's just going to be a long day, but he said, I'm going to give it a go the best you can. Look at this in for 3rd position now, as Ruben Jouse wants to take over where Nori Haga left off and create some excitement in the lead group here.
Watch the corner speed. Oh. Haga off the track again, up in the corkscrew area, so he might have twisted a handlebar around, or something's not working right in the steering of his machine.
Looks like he's heading towards pit road, coming down off the corkscrew. The pit road entry is at the bottom of the hill there, and he's definitely looking over his shoulder and off the racing line. Apparently is going to withdraw from the race.
Well, the absence of Noriyuki Haga's drama up front, I'm sure that the number 11 will fill the void there as Mr. Excitement. Ruben Jouse is working his way up around Nicky Hayden. It sets his sails for the leaders. Ruben Jouse mighty fast down through Rainy Curve.
What does Ruben have for us? We'll find out on the other side of the commercial break. Welcome once again at Laguna Seca Raceway, continuing with World Superbike Round 9A, let's call it, as the first leg of racing is going to be taking place, and you're watching it. The next one will come a little bit later on this afternoon. The top 5 riders are still as they were a few moments ago and starting to get into some traffic. Ben Bostrom is the lone motorcycle you see in the distance, trying to bridge the gap to join the lead group. Whoa, big moment there.
Bayless just burying the rear tire coming out of turn 4. They're easily around the first lap rider. I believe that was Mark Miller on the 72 Honda. And then way, way back in the distance, you can see Ben Bostrom there trying to catch up to Nicky Hayden. A great turn of events for Hayden. Not so good in the AMA Superbike race yesterday, but the changes that he's made to his motorcycle, I told you a miracle could happen. With Merlin Plumley spinning the wrenches on that bike along with the other Honda guys. Nicky Hayden doing a fabulous job with the eyes of the world on him. He's just matching their pace and sitting back. He'll probably have it in his mind that these guys are good. The way things have been going this weekend, a couple of these guys up front may eliminate each other by crashes.
or that he has a little more tire left for him at the end. He may be in tire management mode. We know that Freddie Spencer is here and has been working with Nicky, and it may be part of the strategy for him to just sit back, let people pass him, stay in contact, keep a little extra rubber under you for the end of the race, and maybe pick them off one at a time.
And the Ducati teammates are putting on a great show behind Colin Edwards. I know Bayless is just comfortable with the pace. He rides next to Colin every one of these events, and he'll be quite content to sit on the backside of Edwards and maybe a 3-lap shootout towards the end of this once they all know what kind of chassis setup they have when all the extreme heat gets built up.
So we're back and all. Troy Bayless seems to have loosened up a little bit, warmed himself up, and he's bringing it.
Well, he might be bringing trouble on from behind by Ducatis in the field here with the World Superbike competitors, allowed to use the larger throttle bodies. That's making the difference up on Hayden right now. He hasn't had to compete against Ducatis with the bigger throttle bodies all year long.
Up front, Colin Edwards and Troy Bayless, championship battle that we've seen all season long. Ruben Schaus, who has been on the podium this year 7 times. He has 2 career wins and 13 podium appearances in only 43 races. So he's a pretty, what the statistic that we don't have is how many times he was on the ground. We know how many times he was on the box. But he does have that reputation of kind of win it or bin it, as our British friends are fond of saying. And Nicky Hayden definitely being held up a little bit by Hodson. I agree, Ski, got to make a move if he's going to stay in contention here.
Okay. See Colin Edwards just starting to click off a little bit faster down into the 126-1 range. Some 25s out there being cut by Bayless as he has to let Edwards go a little bit and attack the blind turn 1 area. But here we go, challenge for the lead. Nope, going to sit back and park on him again.
2 battles going on out there on the racetrack right now. The one for 4th involved in that is Nicky Hayden, looking a little bit further back through the field. Behind brother Ben is Eric Bostrom, who continues to be very fast. But again, there are the brothers Bostrom running in 6th and 7th positions right now. They're 6 and 8 seconds behind the leader, respectively.
Never would have figured that both Bostroms would have missed the setup. They had great launches. They were right up there at the beginning. Colin Edwards threw down some serious 25s. In the first 3 laps, Bayless was able to hang with him. Ruben Schaus had to work his way up from 4 or 5 bikes back, but he did a great job to stay with the leaders. Here comes Nicky Hayden around Hodgson.
A 3-way battle for the lead and 2 men going after 4th position. If professional motorcycle racing is like pro sports in America, we're in the 4th quarter, 7 laps to go. And if you've been waiting for the money laps, you're there.
I'll tell you what, Troy Bayless just went for a 3-pointer. He put it past Colin Edwards down into turn 2, and Edwards just seesawed right back underneath with a very similar move in line that Noriyuki Haga took, but Edwards' bike stuck. Here goes Bayless applying pressure to Colin Edwards. I tell you what, though, these 3-point shots are going to turn out to be a half-court free throw down in turn 11 to win this race. That's the way this racetrack works, Brian.
Yeah, Colin Edwards protecting his line while feeling the pressure from Bayless. Bayless feeling some pressure from his teammate Ruben Schaus, while Nicky Hayden has made it around Neil Hodgson and is in 4th position. He did it pretty cleanly a while ago.
Slide.
Big movement out of the Michelin tires under Colin Edwards.
Colin's got his head down. He's going to try to pull this disappearing act, but not going to disappear. He may be able to stretch out 4 or 5 bike lengths. But here they go. The bell is rung.
+0, no kidding.
And L6, 6 laps to go to work for Troy Bayless. Let's hope he's got some strength in that back. He's going to need it to put it by Edwards. He put the move on Edwards in this area of the racetrack. This time through, he'll park on the back again. Ruben Schaus is just waiting for an opportunity, and he'll try to follow Bayless through if he can push Edwards offline enough. Take a look at it. Up into turn 2. Way up the inside. Troy Bayless, it's going to leave him wide at mid-corner. Colin knows that. Sorry, gotta lead this race.
Stood him up a little bit, and Troy said, all right, that didn't work. We'll try something different. And Nicky Hayden is leaving Neil Hodgson and looking to get on the train up front.
With 6 laps to go, this is where Hayden does his best work. We'll watch his lap times and compare them to Colin Edwards. Edwards in the mid-26s that time, and Nicky Hayden in the low 26s, so there's plenty of room to work here. These guys are capable of doing 25s on wore-out slick tires. We're about to see it.
And Eric Bostrom has gotten around his brother Ben and has moved into 6th position. So the Bostrom battle has swapped spots. Up front, Colin Edwards feeling the pressure from Troy Bayless, feeling the pressure from who's feeling the pressure from his own dramatic riding.
These guys will mix it up front a little bit, and that's going to benefit Hayden. This is going to be great. 3 world-class riders up front duking it out, all within 0.4 of a second of each other. And the American hopeful, Nicky Hayden, has got to catch these guys and start mixing it up. Hodgson's right there, too, though. He's not letting him go too far.
Look at Hayden close ground going into turn number 2. He swings out almost into the parking lot, as you called it yesterday, squares the turn off and closes the gap. He can see him, he can feel him, and pretty soon he'll be in the draft up the short straightaways here at Laguna Seca. Meanwhile, American Colin Edwards leads with the 2 Italian machines behind him, and then American Nicky Hayden coming on strong.
Trying to interpret Bayless's strategy here, and right now he pushes the front right there. He does not have a corner picked out where he can take Edwards. So Edwards has a problem going through turn 5, drifted way wide. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he missed a shift.
Looked like he kind of lost the front a little bit also, and definitely lost the lead, as now Troy Bayless is up front. Schaus has gone with him, and Edwards is shuffled back, and Nicky Hayden is right behind him. The 2 Americans were running 1st and 4th. Now they're 3rd and 4th. And 6th, if you add Eric Bostrom.
Wow, big slide. 4th gear pinned on the Ducati. Troy Bayless pitches it sideways and never even thought about lifting the throttle off of that tire that was just buried off a big smoke cloud.
Troy Bayless feeling no pain right now as he has taken the lead to the delight of his crew. Bayless, who has won 13 races in this 2002 season, is looking for win number 14. Ruben Schaus, Colin Edwards, and even Nicky Hayden saying not so fast.
All closing right back up again, but Bayless, you can see by his body posture that he wants to try to put a gap on his teammate Ruben Schaus and definitely get away from Edwards. Very uncharacteristic. It was so faint, I couldn't even tell what happened to Edwards' bike.
Inside 4 laps to go. When they cross the finish line, it'll be 3. Troy Bayless leads from Ruben Schaus. Here it is. That's after it happened already.
Just breezed on past.
Oh, and look at both ends on Bayless's bike moving.
And Schaus to lead momentarily, and then the Ducatis just clawing at the sky up the hill as these guys cramp 4th and 5th gear. Electric shifters on these World Superbikes.
Bayless opening a lead. Everybody kind of spread out in the conga line here now.
Amazing turn of events for Colin Edwards just to be so dominant early on. And then now that these guys got past, it lead me to believe he's dealing with some kind of trouble aboard the factory Honda.
Bayless, Schaus, Edwards, and Hayden running in the top 4 right now. Neil Hodgson has also started to make the connection once again to see if he can challenge in the closing laps.
Man, you know Nicky Hayden back there on the 69 Honda. He's parked behind Honda teammate, World Superbike Honda teammate. He's got to be thinking a bunch of things. 1, I can get on the box in my first World Superbike race. And 2, should I pass Colin Edwards, a fellow Honda rider chasing championship points?
A couple of very interesting decisions to be made. But you know, as we do, that team orders pretty much go out the window in the closing laps. Teammates, they aren't. Fellow Honda riders, they are, no doubt about it. But I'm sure that everyone down there on pit road is going to be saying, hey guys, go after it, do what you got to do.
I don't know, Brian. I think that's a big decision for the kid to make. I mean, if I was sitting there 20 years old trying to have to make that decision, I'd probably blow a fuse.
Well, they do have the two-way communications. Whether they're using it here today or not, we don't know. But Nicky Hayden has been able to put a receiver, a transmitter receiver, in the hump on his leathers and actually talk to Merlin Plumley, his crew chief, down on pit road during the race. So they can talk to him. He can talk back if he wants to.
They're kind of running out of time. If Hayden's going to make a decision, we'll see it on the racetrack. But I think Nicky Hayden is going to stake behind Colin Edwards. This championship is by far not over for Colin Edwards. He's still close enough mathematically to catch up to Troy Bayless, who's been so dominant this year. Now you can see why. Bayless just making short work of Colin Edwards back into the 125.7 bracket right now. it seems quite comfortable aboard the Ducati.
Coming across the line with 26 out of 28 laps complete. We're 2 laps to go here at Laguna Seca. Nicky Hayden getting closer to Colin Edwards, but following him for the moment. And Troy Bayliss pulling away from teammate Ruben Joust. Can Joust mount a last couple of lap charge? Can Edwards come back?
See the toe scrapers on Joust's boots. He's got a big old lanky guy and constantly cornering around here, but the toe scraper on the left side about to fly off.
That could be distracting.
Give himself a Monterey Peninsula pedicure.
All right. Ruben Joust, Colin Edwards in third. With the Captain America Lone Star Ranger paint job.
Real narrow approach to the corkscrew. Edwards definitely defending. And I'm sure his Honda cap is letting him know that it's the American hopeful Nicky Hayden on his tail. Hayden finishing off the rainy corner there with a rear end slide. Big speed down into turn 11. Hayden pushes both tires. Right there where Ben Bostrom fell on super pole.
Coming up on 1 lap to go, and Ruben Joust is mounting a charge on Troy Bayliss for the lead. Plus 0.4. That only begins to tell the story. Into turn 2. Bayliss stands it up, hits the shifts. Joust the same. Here comes the battle for third with Edwards and Hayden. Neil Hodgson pretty comfortable and alone in fifth. Movement out of Bayliss's bike again. Joust a little smoother through that section. And the gap is down to half of what it was a moment ago.
Joust, you can see he's going to go after him. He said there's no team orders. Ruben Joust is definitely setting up Troy Bayliss for a pass, but there's really no place right now where I can see Bayliss leaving an opening for Joust. He's going to have to barge his way through a la Noriyuki Haga.
The only place that Bayliss made any error whatsoever was when he was trying to move forward in the race. He made a pass, and Edwards repassed him back. Running order at the bottom of the screen. 0.4 of a second at the start-finish line. It's much less than that now. About equal to the near-zero gap between Nicky Hayden and Colin Edwards. Aaron Yates running in 7th position. Matt Mladen 10th.
Clear sailing for Troy Bayliss. He has a big enough gap behind him. He can kind of take it easy. But if you get the butterflies on the last lap, last corner at Laguna Seca, sometimes guys will throw it away right here.
Troy Bayliss, a pretty cool customer, leans it in, stands it up, gets on the gas, and barring a miracle of horsepower from Ruben Joust, Troy Bayliss looks at his crew and counts win number 14 for the 2002 season. And he's done it here at Laguna Seca for the very first time in his career. He is a winner in America.
Edwards across the line in third, fourth to Nicky Hayden. Eric Bostrom and Hodgson inside there on the top 6. Aaron Yates doing a great job to get 7th.
And now Troy Bayliss will start putting on the show. His wife congratulated by the crew. Bayliss, Joust 1-2 for Ducati Infostrada. Colin Edwards in 3rd position for the Castrol Honda team. And Troy Bayliss, he's feeling no pain at all right now. And showing the crowd what a winner looks like here in America. You'll see a big happy smile come out from under that helmet in the post-race interviews as Troy Bayliss has recorded his first World Superbike win here in the United States. Let's go downstairs now. Greg White.
Well, I'm down here in the Honda pit where Nicky Hayden's team is celebrating. Merlin Plumley, half a second off of Colin Edwards. Nicky did a great job.
Oh, completely fantastic. You know, I mean, we're just over the moon. After we had a couple things wrong yesterday, and we felt kind of bad because we probably let Nicky down a little bit. I got to give maximum thanks to our show guy. He and Darren, our data guy, looked at the data last night. They called a different link. We went for it, and the Dunlop guys just gave us an awesome tire. Man, that was good.
I bet you can't wait to hear what he has for changes for the next race, huh?
Yeah, I tell you, that will be looking for the next one a little more.
Well, congratulations to you guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks to everybody at Honda.
All right, Brian.
It just goes to show you, Ski, that no matter how long you've been doing it, and Merlin's been doing it a long time, the magician can still feel the thrill of a near victory.
Great to see the smile on his face. He knows that that Nicky will probably talk to him after the race. He knows that Nicky probably had a shot at Edwards, but it was very wise, I think, for Nicky Hayden to not be selfish and go for the box, but try to help Honda win the World Championship.
So Troy Bayliss being directed to victory lane, and the interviews will commence shortly. We'll take a break for some important messages and come back to listen. Well, the crowd's heading down towards the infield area for some lunch, some souvenir shopping, and so on, and some of them to listen to the interviews going on in pit lane right now. These are the manufacturer standings. Of course, Ducati with a commanding advantage in that particular department. 3 wins for Honda, 2 of which came at Sugo, 1 in the rain at Silverstone by Colin Edwards. Edwards joining the festivities up on the box right now. That's Ruben Jaus. Here comes Troy Bayliss, the winner. Edwards has already been introduced to the crowd.
I got to think, Brian, that something happened to the RC51 of Colin Edwards. It's just not an area of the racetrack where you see much passing going on under acceleration, but Edwards was able to recover, get on the box, but I think he's probably upset with himself or with his machine, because this race was his to lose from the green flag.
Well, we'll hear shortly what he has to say as Troy Bayliss receives the spoils of victory, if you will.
Our team manager.
And the congratulations of the team managers and everybody else, dignitaries on hand, his team director standing up to enjoy the national anthem of Australia in honor of Troy Bayliss.
Troy Bayliss, one of the nicest guys in the World Superbike paddock. So down to earth, family man, always has a smile on his face.
That was not exactly the Australian anthem, and everybody up there knew it, but they just kind of held station and said, okay, we'll get it right eventually. So while they do that, we'll take a commercial break. Sorry, you're going to miss the Australian national anthem here at Laguna Seca. Well, the podium looks pretty happy right now. They finally got the Australian anthem right for Troy Bayliss, so he smiles his way off the podium right now. As you can see that some of the tens of thousands of people, we haven't gotten an official crowd estimate here, but I'll tell you what, there are parts of the racetrack that are pretty crowded. All the good spots were taken a long time ago, and the campground is completely full.
That's a factory ride if I ever saw one.
That's the kind I wish I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And, of course, a great weekend for riding your motorcycle from wherever you may have come from. I enjoyed doing that a few years back. Rode all the way from Atlanta out here, and getting there is indeed at least half the fun.
Yeah, well, riding your Honda Dream around here is not a bad compromise either. Fans are just poured all over this place. I've said it before. It's one of the coolest racetracks you can come to and spectate. A huge event. Campsites available for you. Bring the family out. And these guys are going back in to get refreshed, rehydrated, and come out for the second race of the day.
Let's listen in on Susie Perry interviewing Colin Edwards.
Your head after that one, haven't you?
Well, it's been like this all year. I don't know why I started scratching my head now. No, I mean, I thought we had a good package today, and you know, everything was going as planned. You know, I don't know. You know, we weren't able to hold quite the pace I thought we could. You know, if it's a bit warmer than it was this morning, but had this heat, and we thought 25 9s or 8s. You know, we could hold that, and we did for a while, and then it dropped off, and it was difficult.
When that pace did drop off and you were riding very defensively all the way through, did you feel as though it was a two-pronged attack from the first and second places here?
Well, I mean, you know, history will let you know. It's just as soon as the tires go off, they don't have to carry quite the corner speed. They get the grunt out of the corner, and that's basically what it was. And you know, I knew I was beating my head against the wall once, so they were still that close. I thought, man, it's going to be tough. And I came in turn 5 and went to throw it in the corner, and rear end came around on the entry and just set me up, and both of them went by on one time.
Can we just go back to the incident with Murray as well? Because I don't know how much of that you saw.
Yeah, it scared the hell out of me, really. 'Cause I got in there and I had a peek at him. I got in there a bit hot, and so I started to come on over, and he grabbed the brake, and I heard his fiberglass, on the ground, and I thought, oh, please, God, And so I just kind of did one of those, and he went back behind me, and yeah, luckily he didn't take me out.
Well, is there anything you can do in race 2 for tyre longevity?
I don't know. I just take everybody out. I don't know what to do, but I want to get on top of this box one way or another. And my Castrol Honda's running good, and Michelin's working good. It's just package is lacking maybe 1%, and we just need to find it.
Good luck with that. Perhaps offers welcome from anybody watching.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to second place, and a stunning result for Ruben Zaus, and it was almost as though you two were working as a team today.
Well, for me it was hard. I started quite well, but the guys that were really hungry here, the American. But I knew that the race was really long, and I just waited a little bit. I've got my rhythm. I come back and I just pass some guys, and I've got their wheel and just follow them. And then Colin starts to slow down a little bit the rhythm, and I wanted to pass to just tell them to go away because they were catching us again. But nothing. We got a good result. He passed Colin, as Colin did a mistake, and nothing. I've been second. It's good for my championship because the last 2 races I did DNF, really bad luck, and well, we're coming back.
But all weekend really haven't been looking as good as you hoped you'd look, and you haven't been feeling that comfortable. Did you make some changes to your bike this morning?
No, not really. On Friday it wasn't really good. I did the 14th. I wasn't running well. I got no my head. On Saturday and on Friday practice I was top 5 fastest, and Super Bowl was good, so we're coming back, and I found a really good setup for a race, and we show it up, so it's good.
Well, congratulations, thank you very much. And our race winner, talking about perfect setups, which you certainly need around this circuit.
Tires working good.
Thanks, Ruben. Despite having injury, here you are again.
Yeah, it's, everything's working out good. The week started off really good, and then I crashed on some oil, and then I threw myself down pretty heavily yesterday. Anyway, the plan all come together in the end. Obviously the Michelin's working great. We all run a different rear tyre actually, and it shows us they're all pretty close. There was nothing in it at the end.
You just going back to that crash yesterday, because you were really knocked about by that. The injury you sustained is a strained ligament in your back, is it?
Yeah, just a little bit of ligament damage, but it's not. It's okay. It's no problem. It's sore, but you forget that when it all happens.
Well, it obviously didn't affect your performance too much out there.
All right, well, while Susie Perry continues to interview Troy Bayliss, we'll take a commercial break. We'll come back, let you know if they had anything special to say. Other than that, we'll finish it up here and get ready for race 2. World Superbike Racing on Speed is brought to you by the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R AMA and FIM World 600 Super Sport Champion. Well, now we have had our appetites whetted, as they say, and we're getting mighty hungry for race 2. That's coming up here in about 2.5 hours at 3:30 p.m. here on the West Coast. Do the math for where you are and join us. Stay with us. Heck, we got lots of stuff going on here on Speed Channel. And Ski, I think that first race was very interesting and really kind of sets the table for race 2.
It does. I mean, looked like Colin Edwards was just really disgusted with the fact that he missed that 1%. They're going to be able to find that for Rich. We're going to have to see. But Troy Bayliss, so calm, cool, collected. It's like another day at the office for him. And I got to say, Nicky Hayden was talking to my son during the break here. Nicky Hayden did the best he could possibly do. I think there was team orders that he could not pass Colin Edwards. So as good as Colin Edwards could do was as good as Nicky Hayden could do. So consider it a win in the books for Nicky Hayden in his first World Superbike outing.
I'll go with the wisdom of my broadcast partner, David Sadowski, and thank Greg White for his hustle down on pit road. Take a break, Greg. We'll see you back here in a little while. I'm Brian Drever. We'll see you in a little while, too. The man who would be AMA's Super Sport King has a problem. 4 races to run this weekend, but only a single title to be won. Wait, that's not a problem. That's Super Sport Racing on Speed.